Hey, what up, tribe? Manny here. Welcome back to another little video. Man, I just spent so much work editing a video about Toby Roberts and it's his outstanding genetics. I was commenting, reviewing as I usually do it. I was commenting on his, ascent on his lead route on the Olympics on his way to the gold medal. Only to find out later on then that when I uploaded the video I could not post it because apparently the footage of the Olympics is just completely owned by some company and you can't even do reviews about it, which is something that you normally always can do on YouTube. Yeah, so usually on any YouTube that is uploaded to any content that is uploaded to YouTube can be taken and commented on and reviewed by another person. This is for for reviewing purposes, essentially reaction, right? They call it reaction purposes, but not this kind of content. Okay, so we have to start from anew, and I will try to as much as possible exclude any Olympic content. I will just show some screenshots which I find necessary to get some points across. But we're gonna take a look at the exceptional genetics of Toby Roberts, and I've talked a lot about genetics on this on the Patreon also, especially in the Elder Baboon series and stuff like that. What are the ideal genetics for rock climbing? Well, of course, there is a lot of stuff going on in the head with rock climbing. So very good rock climbers are usually also quite intelligent people, in my experience. So that's of course something that you cannot see from the outside, right? But there is stuff that you actually can see on the outside. Well, there is other stuff that you can't see on the outside, which is of course how the musculature and everything is chemically working, how it is how the fibers are chemically aligned and stuff like that. It's not that there is a huge variety there amongst different human individuals. At the end of the day, we are all humans, and all of human muscle is somewhat the same. But of course, there is very big genetic differences in terms of, like, for example, how many mitochondria do you have in there at baseline without having been trained. Of course, there is you can train it, you can increase it via training, you can increase the strength of the muscle, the diameter of the muscle via training. But of course, there is a huge genetic component in at work when it comes to what's your baseline, what's the line that you're starting, and then of course there's also a genetic component as in how do you respond to training stimuli, right? So of course these are all things that can hardly be determined, but there is a huge from the outside, yeah. But there is one huge genetic component in climbing, which plays a huge role in terms of what your absolute limit performance is going to be at the top, and that is simply your body morphology. That is the kind of the lengths of your limbs, your height, the width of your shoulders, the diameter of your legs, of your especially of your lower legs. And I find, like, when I've been in many high-end climbing areas across my climbing career. Like, I'm doing this stuff now for like over 15 years probably. And I've talked and met personally a couple of really good strong climbers. Some of them completely unknown, some of them very popular. Like, for example, met Alex Megos in Margalev, met Adam Ondra twice outdoors, and with time you get a very good instinct in terms of what a good climbing morphology looks like, right? And Toby Roberts just completely beautifully ticks that box in my mind. So when I see Toby Roberts climbing, also especially during the video on the Gold Olympics, where he does that final lead route, it's just so beautiful. I would love to analyze it with you together, while he's climbing, but I can't do that unfortunately because of copyright reasons. So I took some screenshots where I tried to cover the moments where his genetics shine through the most, and especially when we compare it to someone like Sorato Anraku, who was the leader after the bouldering, who has also an extreme dexterity, I think, when it comes to climbing. So his dexterity is just outstanding. He's got super good aim, and he's also got that quickness, you know, the how should I say it, the contact strength. Yeah, it's also a lot about contact strength in modern bouldering because of all the dynamic moves and the coordination moves that you have to be able to do. A lot of dexterity there. You can learn this obviously a lot, but there is genetic limits on how fast your brain can process these movements and stuff like that. Yeah, so some people are more talented when it comes to that. Some people are less talented, and I find Sorato Anraku has this mind stuff really down. Yeah, he's really good at that. But when it comes to morphology and the way how his, you know, proportions work, like how his limbs in terms of his height work and stuff like that, we're gonna take a look at that, and especially we're gonna compare photos between Toby and Sorato. I find it's just such a beautiful comparison because morphology-wise, just Toby Roberts is one of those climbers who is just, I've never seen something like that. Yeah, maybe we've seen it in Alex Megos to some degree, but not even Alex Megos has some of these features which Toby has. He's in some way very reminiscent of Adam Ondra, but he's not as tall and just not as bulky. I mean, Adam Ondra, when he was young, when he was in his teens, like Toby Roberts, he's I think now 19 years old, was also still very, very lean, very lightweight, and you could see, wow, this is some danger. Okay, this is danger for the walls, man. This is a climbing machine, and Toby Roberts gives you the same vibe here nowadays, yeah. And maybe he's getting bulkier and bigger. Of course he will, yeah, because he's still in his teens and he's just super lean and trimmed down for all these competitions and stuff like that. So he's didn't really get the opportunity yet to really grow like a man, you know, getting bigger and wider and heavier, larger bone density and stuff like that. He's gonna go down that path obviously at some point as well, but he's still in that category of just outstanding, beautiful morphology for climbing. Let's take a look at it. So here we got the Wikipedia side of Toby Roberts. Yeah, born 15th of March 2005, age 19 years old, okay? Height, we've got 177 centimeters, that's 5 foot 10 inches. Beautiful height. In my opinion, the perfect height. So I would, if someone would ask me, hey, what is the perfect height for rock climbing? I would always say something in between 175 and 180. And probably more a bit on the 175 side of things. Many people would argue that that's too tall. You know, it's actually better in rock climbing if you're short and stuff like that, because then you got better leverage and you're so light. But it's not true anymore. Especially nowadays, since we have reached grades like 9B, 9B+, 9C. There's big moves in routes like that. There's big moves in boulders like 9A boulders. You know, I mean, yes, there's super short climbers being able to climb 9A boulders, but being taller and bringing the same finger strength divided by body weight to the game as a short boulderer, as a tall climber, obviously will always give you more options, especially if you are flexible at the same time. Yeah, like all of these modern comp guys are, because they have to be for the modern comp boulders, right? So beautiful height, in my opinion, for rock climbing. Let's just go through the screenshots at first that I did from the video from the Olympics, okay? So here he's coming out. As you can see, he's already, although, you know, the Belair is a bit behind him here, and maybe this is a woman, I can't really see, but he's not that short. He's quite tall, yeah? So that's, like, for example, if you have me, it's funny, videos make you appear taller. I'm 172 centimeters, 173 on good days, you know. And most people who meet me in person, when they know my videos, they meet me in person, they say, wow, I would have imagined that you're taller, right? You look so long and tall on the wall. Yeah, I'm actually quite short. This guy, Toby, is actually quite tall for a climber. Yeah? And that's great. That's good. That's giving him a lot of options. We're going to see him at the wall. Look at these long arms, man. I mean, this is almost alienish. Okay, it doesn't really show so much on video or on a screenshot like that. But if you see that in real, you know, face to face when he's out there in reality, that's gonna look freaking alienish to you. It's just amazing. I mean, look at this arm. It's as long as his leg almost. Yeah. And if you look at the arm of the belayer, just like a freaking T-Rex, okay, almost like a T-Rex. This is a long arm, and I bet, unfortunately, I could never find anything about his ape index on the internet. Yeah, I would love to know his ape index, but I'm pretty sure he's on the very positive side when it comes to ape index as well. Yeah, with long arms like these. So that's amazing, yeah. And many people would argue, no, that's bad. You want to have better leverages. You want to have shorter limbs. No. You want to have long limbs. You want to have all the options that long limbs will give you. And we're going to see it on the wall. Look at these legs, man. Legs non-existent. Obviously, this guy is trimmed down completely for the competition. We can see the striations there. It's just crazy, especially when you compare it to normal legs. And you wouldn't say that these legs of this belayer are thick or anything like that. Yeah, these are normal legs. And again, it doesn't show as much on the camera. It just doesn't jump into the eye as much. But if you would see these legs in person, man, you would think, wow, these are lean legs. How the frick can this guy have such lean legs? But that's how it is. Yeah, these are good, extraordinary climbing genetics. Obviously, he's also super trimmed down for the competition. Don't think that these guys do not pay attention to anything like that or something. Like how freaking lean these guys are when they are competing, it's crazy. You can see striations that you would now never see otherwise. Yeah, so they are trimmed down for the competition. Unfortunately, they don't show us their weight, they don't show us their BMI. This guy, Toby Roberts, at the Olympics, I would say is somewhere around the low 60s, like 61, 62-ish, maybe even below the 60s, like 59, 58 kilograms or something like that. I would estimate his weight just by looking at him like that, yeah, and knowing his height. Okay, so he comes out there. Next picture. He is looking at the route and trying to analyze the route. Like, look at this arm, man, okay? This is a freakishly long upper arm there as well. It's cool that he has these long forearms and these, really prominent forearms and hands, like long. But if you take a look at the photo before, like his lower arm is as long, including the hand, or even longer than his lower leg. This is also something that you have to achieve at some point. First of all, I mean, my lower arm is not close, I think, as long as my lower leg. So that's crazy, yeah? But also what stands out here a lot is, first of all, there's not a lot of bicep action going on, which is something that I always say. Bicep is not necessary for climbing hard, okay? Probably one of the least necessary muscles in modern high-end climbing. What's important is the latissimus, which is actually on your back, which you can't see here, and the freaking brachioradialis, okay, this guy here, which is coming out there like the sail of a sailing boat. This is what I always call the sailboat, and it especially comes out if they flex their arms, yeah, for some reason. Like, for example, if he puts his shoes on, we're gonna see another shot there when he puts his shoes on with this sailing boat coming out. And look at how freaking thin his upper arm is, man. It's just the circumference of this spot here is maybe, like, it's probably half as much or even less than the circumference here, okay, where we want it to have, where the lower arm is. Beautiful. Yeah, this is something that triggers my, perfect climbing genetics instinct so much. Let's continue. So here we've got him on the first couple of moves here on this final route on the Olympics. First move to this demi-moon here, and look at how freaking long, like, where his elbow is and where his head ends, okay? Like, look how much space there is in between. Normally, when people put their hands up like this, as you can see with me, my elbow doesn't even extend above the end of my head. Actually, the end of my head is taller than my elbow here. Of course, if I'm leaning up like that, I can make it lower, like he's doing it here in this position. But it's never going to be a gap like that, like with him. And this is also an indicator of just freakishly long arms. Let's go to show the next picture. Look at these long arms, man. The elbows are up there. The head is down there. Obviously, the head is leaning back here a bit, so that reduces the height of the head, obviously. But you can see instantly, wow, he's got something special going on. Yeah, you don't see bodies like these every day. You see them actually from time to time, and then you think, wow, this would actually be a pretty good climber. Look at that shot here. Here we really get those spider vibes, like long arm, long leg to the right, long leg to the left. Look at all the options that he has here, especially if he's got a bit of flexibility going on. Yeah, this is really Adam Ondra-esque kind of climbing, really reminiscent of the young Adam Ondra, I think. Here we got the crossover. Long arms like these, narrow shoulders like these, beautiful. Super good for crossovers. Yeah, we could argue that it's maybe not so good for Gastons because of the leverages, but at the end of the day, if you've got the strength, you can always out leverage hard moves, and you can, but you still have more options than someone who has shorter arms. Yeah, obviously, huge crossover there. Again, look at the elbow, look at the head, like look at the gap, man. It's just amazing. Again, crossover vibes we're getting here, like easy. Look at where his hand is there. His left hand is like so much right of his head, like because his arm is so long. Other people can't even pull that off. If I do that, like it's just like a T-Rex, right? And here we got a beautiful shot here. Maybe I can zoom that out. Look at the freaking sailboat there. I mean, that's easily 10 centimeters of diameter here of sailboat coming out. That's just great, okay? Especially on moves like these, where you get side pulls like these and stuff like that. You can see it just beautifully. And look at his body strength here, easily still standing here, because his long legs allow him, obviously, to keep the tension here. And yeah, beautiful crossover. Here again, he's hanging there, long legs, nice and easy. Also, if you just look at his head and his head to body proportion in general, just a beautiful head to body proportion. On too short people, we get the impression that the head is quite large and the body is quite small, and the head to body proportion is a bit more towards the head than we would like it to be. Yeah, but he's got that nice long thin body going, which makes his head appear small, which makes it appear like the right proportion. Here another beautifully long move, like look at where he's still standing there and how much he's able to reach out with that arm. Just beautiful. Again, look at where his right leg is here and where his right arm is, man. I mean, look at these fingers. That's how much of a gap he always has there. Eh? It's nice. And here again, I love this move especially because if you look here, right foot at a very low hold, right hand already on the next hold. And Sorato Anraku was not able to even closely pull this off. Sorato Anraku has had to do a pretty significant dyno to this hold actually. He was standing at the exact same holds, foot holds, hand holds, but he had to jump for this hold actually on the right, where Toby Roberts could go statically, okay? And here we got him after the climb. Like, look at the arm, man. Super lean here, like a super big gap here in between the bicep and actually the elbow. That's really long. These kind of long sinews like that, yeah. This is how you also on the lower legs you can very often see this. Like if you have these huge calves, you know, with very short sinews, that's not what you want to have. It's a lot of weight in the muscle and a lot of unnecessary weight in the muscle. Really, what you want to have is a short little bulge of the calf and then a long sinew to the heel actually, yeah, of the foot. That's proportions that you want to see. So now let's take a look at Sorato. Look at his arms, man. Look at his head. Yeah, I mean he's also got the hair going like that, like crazy, but his head to body proportions are just something completely else, something completely different than we see in Toby Roberts. And it's actually amazing, I think, that he can compete still with Toby Roberts, despite his much more suboptimal genetics, morphology-wise, okay? As I said before, Sorato has amazing things going for him, like his dexterity and his speed and his contact strength, and his mind, obviously, as well, to be able to put that all to work. But like morphology-wise, something completely different. Okay, if you take a look at Toby Roberts before here, do you see that? How much more of a spider Toby Roberts is, yeah? And this is the vibes that you want to get from these elite climbers, spider vibes. So here we got Sorato, here the crossover, okay? Look at his elbow, elbow, head, is on the same level. It's on the same level, yeah. And here again, crossover. He's doing the same crossover here as Toby does, but you get completely different vibes morphology-wise. And also if you look at his leg here, that's quite of a leg going. It's not, I mean, Sorato as well has excellent climbing genetics, yeah? So we're talking about the top like 1% of the population here with Sorato Anraku, and with Toby Roberts we're probably talking the top 0.1% of the population. So both have excellent genetics, but I think that Toby Roberts, morphology-wise, just had outstandingly excellent genetics. Yeah, he's just a prime example of what an elite climber should look like. Here, Sorato, much more of a jumpy climber. Yeah, not because jumping is better, but he has to be. He's much shorter. He has less of these options. So he must be a more dynamic, more risky kind of a type of a climber. His style has to be more risky. Yeah. Even a commentator said here in this video that Toby Roberts has this very slow, very static style. He appeared to have this very slow and static style on this route, on this final Olympic route. And this potentially, actually, it has even the potential to give the audience who is not so much into climbing the wrong perception that this is actually what a good, beautiful climbing style looks like, what an efficient climbing style looks like. But of course, that's not it. Yeah, an efficient climbing style is something very dynamic, very quick, very jumpy, like Sorato does it. But the thing is, here in a competition where one slip can mean your loss, you will always climb as safe and secure as possible. And this is a bit of a fail, in my opinion, in this whole concept in general, the climbing competition as a concept in general, because it does not really test the climbing style, which is actually the best climbing style, which is actually the most efficient climbing style, which is a very dynamic and very flowy climbing style, like Sorato at least sometimes shows it, because he has to, because he doesn't have this morphology as Toby does. But Toby, with this morphology, actually has the possibility to pull this off completely statically, very, very statically, only on the very, very last move where he actually slipped. That was the first time where he was forced to be dynamic, because and he wouldn't even have to go very dynamic there if he wouldn't already have been so tired as he was up there. Yeah? So this is how you have to do it in a comp like that, slow and static, because anything dynamic is risky, and it can mean a slip, it can mean a loss. Yeah, so and you only have one attempt. If you would ask me, it would be very cool to also have a comp where climbers say have 3 attempts. Okay, 3 attempts, and then they've got a bit of a chance to get your muscle memory used to that route. And then on the 3rd attempt, we would actually see what a much more dynamic and much more efficient and actually beautiful climbing style look like. But we're never going to see that in a comp, because comps have to be very entertaining. They have to be quick-paced to keep the attention of the audience, and the audience only wants to see 1 attempt per climber. Yeah, so that's the thing here. Yeah, so we, as an audience who's not into climbing, you will actually never see what an efficient, beautiful climbing style looks like, just because of the mode in which these audiences are, or in which these competitions are held. Yeah, I wanted to say that as well, because it's actually quite an interesting topic. It's quite an interesting aspect of competition climbing, and why it is not really representative of how good these guys really are. I just wanted to point that out. Yeah. So Sorato Anraku, yeah, like a lot of, look at this crossover, man. This is just a crazy comparison. Like, look at this, look at where his head is here and where his hands here are. Yeah, super crimped together here in this very small holded section. Like, this is like a very tight, exhausting crossover for him here. Let's take a look at Toby on that exact same crossover. Okay. Like, look at that. It's just a completely different world. His arms, like, Sorato Anraku actually has to step up here, yeah, to be securely in that crossover, because he cannot bring weight into this hold from that foothold like Toby does it easily with his long legs and long arms. Yeah, Sorato is much more cramped together here in this crossover, because he's got just simply much shorter arms. He's got that Japanese morphology, like, And he still is actually probably he's quite tall for a Japanese guy. I don't know. He's, I think, 168. We can actually find it out. Let's just take a look at the Wikipedia. Sorato Anraku. Bang, there we got him. So he's 168 centimeters. That's 5 foot 6 inches. Almost 10 centimeters shorter than Toby is, yeah? And it makes a huge difference, especially the ape index thing, yeah, where Toby is also, I'm sure, a lot better designed than Sorato is. So here again, the crossover, like just look at how much more cramped in he is. And actually the cameraman had to zoom in more to make his body frame like fit to the general frame of the picture better, yeah, for a recording of a top sport event like that. Like with Toby, because it's such a spider and such a long-limbed spider, you can actually zoom out a bit and still see quite nicely what he's doing, because it's just a much longer dude. And here the same crossover like from before, but here we see like the you know, the relations here between forearm and upper arm. He's just simply got a much shorter upper arm here going, Sorato. Yeah, and that's why this is looking so differently. That's why this guy has to step with the right foot up here, while Toby was still stepping down there with his right foot. Yeah. Here we got him up there on this long move, where of course he had to let go of his feet. He would never be able to like do that statically like Toby Roberts does. And if you add up all these little differences in beta, where he has to go for the more risky and the more efforty beta, obviously, as well, because letting your feet go, obviously, is more efforty than keeping them on the wall. And that doesn't mean that a dynamic climbing style is more efforty. That just means that letting your feet go where others can keep them on is more efforty, yeah? Of course, the ideal would be to be dynamic and keep your feet on. But if you don't know how your next hold feels, what your next hold looks like, you better do it slowly and statically so that you can sort your fingers in properly so that you don't miss anything and slip off something, okay? So here you have seen the that he has to let his feet go. Let's take a look at Toby here on this move. Here we got him, okay? Like long, baby, man. He's standing easily there, yeah? Still keeping his feet on. Just a much more energy-sparing way of doing it. But he can, because his morphology genetics allow it for him, yeah? And here we got a final shot here, which I took out of one of his videos just to show you this crazy sailing boat that he's got going on there. This is a brachioradialis where, man, I'm almost scared when I see this. Yeah, this screams like a high-end elite climber to me. Long upper arm there as well to maneuver this lower arm around like in the air and space, like with so many options. Yeah, crazy. And of course non-existing legs. Like his freaking forearms are thicker than his freaking lower legs, and that's what you want to see, yeah, in terms of lower leg to forearm relations. Okay, so these are the things that I wanted to point out to you. Super trimmed down, super lean, like non-existing lower legs there. Yeah, obviously these guys are trimmed down. You can't really say that's genetics, although it also is, yeah, because everybody can be trimmed down if they just don't eat enough. But the thing is, some people, from a genetic point of view, are able to tolerate a lot lower body fat percentages than others, okay? And it makes a huge difference, obviously, if you are in a weight-dependent sport like climbing is, and you are such a guy, or you're not such a guy, and you have to restrict very, very hard to get to that level. Yeah? The options that he has there with how far these holds are apart. Yeah? But he easily spans it with his long legs and his flexibility. And he doesn't even need to be so flexible to pull this off. He could even span even longer distances if he was very flexible to do the full split, which he probably is. Yeah. So this is as much as I wanted to show you for outstandingly excellent rock climbing genetics of Toby Roberts. Unfortunately, I can't review the video directly of his ascent of the final route in the Olympics. I hope the screenshots, made some points that I wanted to make clear, and we will see definitely in the future some amazing stuff of this guy. He's still at the very beginning of his high-end climbing performance, I would say. He's probably gonna peak at somewhere like 24, 25, 26 or something, yeah. Maybe he can even keep it up into his 30s, into his early 30s or stuff like that, although this is something that is rarely seen. But we will see terrific outdoor performance from this guy as well, just because he's got the body going for him, yeah. You would say, okay, yeah, but maybe it's the finger strength that he doesn't have, the finger strength divided by body weight and stuff like that. Because when you see him lead climbing like that on the Olympic wall, and you've got all these big holes with these small edges on it, then you would always think like, okay, these edges, they are not that bad, right? And he's not even super lean here, okay? You can't see as many striations there as in the Olympics, because it was not for a competition. He's not so trimmed down here for that. But look at the freaking sailboat coming out again. That's a freaking scary sailboat going on there. And these are 10 millimeters of edge size. Easily pulling a one armor there on the right hand and also on the left hand. Yeah. So this guy also has the finger strength divided by body weight. And look at these long arms, man. Despite his long arms, despite his bad leverage, okay? If you've got the muscle attachments going, you know, leverage is not only it's not only relevant for your leverage how long your bones are, but also where your muscle attachments are, especially of the brachioradialis. If the brachioradialis freaking attaches in the middle of your upper arm, although your upper arm is so freaking long, so freakishly long, you will still have very good leverage because your brachioradialis is not attaching at the very end of it. Yeah? It's attaching at the middle of it. And that's what counts for leverage as well. Yeah, so again, muscle attachments there matter a lot. And he's also got the right muscle attachments going, as we can see here, okay? I think we've seen enough, my friends. I hope you're strong and healthy somewhere out there and free. I'm sure I will see and hear you quite soon. It's getting dark here in the yurt, man. Bye.